Well, I've plonked myself in the IOG hub. I'm optimistic there will be a nice cup of coffee and a tea with milk and sugar for the FA's Strategy and Investment Manager, brackets, technical, Mark Pover. Tempted as I am to dwell on your job title and ask you what that means. You've done a couple of presentations today, Mark. What have you been on with?
Yeah, I did one just to explain what our Park Life Hubs programme is. I know you were there at the opening of the very first one, which is a different way of us investing money, but trying to use football money to generate income to reinvest back into local facilities. And it's a partnership with a local authority in a number of different authorities now going across the country. And it's a mix of 3G pitches and natural turf pitches, but the importance is we're generating income to obviously reinvest it. So it's not lost to the game.
Well, let's just pick that one up, and then you can tell me what your other talk was. But that was in Sheffield, if my memory serves me right. That was in South Sheffield, and you were trying to establish 3 of these facilities in that city.
The third one opened literally a couple of weeks ago. Official opening's yet to happen, but that one has a gym. The other 2 had 2 3G pitches and grass pitches with changing rooms and coach education room. Bar cafe area. The Westfield site has now got a gymnasium, and we're hoping that will generate the income that the Sheffield Trust can then reinvest back into local facilities in Sheffield.
Yeah, so I think I'm right in saying that this is a model where the council contributes to the initial build, am I right?
It's a 60-40 split.
But then is sort of exonerated of the running cost responsibility because it's supposed to be a self-generating vessel.
Self-sustaining, in the long term. Obviously, the sites themselves have got to generate enough money for the council to be able to pull out, but it's a phased pull out, and the signs are that all is going well in regards to the income generation, so we're way above target. So everything about those facilities is gone well, and that was a pilot, and we're rolling out now other facilities in. We're certainly started construction in Liverpool, started construction in London, and there's one in Southampton and Eastleigh that will get under construction pretty shortly.
Brilliant. So that was one of the talks you've been doing today. And the other one?
The other one is we've just been talking about governing bodies and the investment into natural turf. That in particular links to the IOG and where we're sat now, and what we're doing in partnership with the English Cricket Board, and looking at employing, or we have employed for the last 4 years, some regional pitch advisors, and it's a continuation of that programme. We've just signed another deal that will take that programme into the next 4 years.
I mean, the fact that you've used the phrase links into natural turf, I think you said, would imply that a lot has been going on outside that sphere. Surely that is the bedrock of why we're here today, isn't it?
I think the part of the message from the FA is that there is a lot of talk about 3G pitches and our investment into 3G pitches, and yes, they're big numbers, but a 3G pitch costs 650,000. So when you put 1 down, and if you put 2 down, like we do in Sheffield, that's 1.3 million before you start to put anything else in place. Natural turf is the bedrock, and natural turf is what football is all about. We have 44,000 natural turf pitches, and the FA is investing more in natural turf than it's ever done. And £2 million a year goes into supporting clubs, organisations, trusts in managing those pitches and being able to keep pitches at a high quality that gives the players the sort of performance and the sort of experience that they want when they're playing their football matches. You were promising that.
Yeah, I was hoping your answer was going to be just 10 seconds longer so I could get that in front of you and sugar it up. Now you can lose your concentration when you have to do that for yourself. But obviously, and we've got a lot of suppliers here, like, for example, SIS grass or SIS grass, this artificial thread that's starting to run through a lot of the pitches that are put down these days, and they in particular have technology for putting it out in smaller batches, making it more accessible to grassroots sports. That's going to transform the landscape as well, Mark, isn't it?
It will transform the landscape, and then it's not gone unnoticed. The Cis grass and the Deso systems that you see in the Premier League, and in particular in the Championship, they're expensive. You know, they're not cheap systems. They're not something you put in a grassroots club. It costs more than a 3G pitch. So that is a long-term investment for those clubs, but it's also a different type of environment. They're growing them in a stadium with no sunlight, with no air, with all the other things that go with it. So the system that they've developed has been adapted, and it's fair to say that there are other hybrid type systems that we're exploring, and in partnership with Sport England, we've put 2 pitches, one in Regent's Park and one in Bisham Abbey. And they are achieving, the one at Bisham Abbey is actually achieving 25 hours of use a week. Now take that and compare that to an average grass pitch at sort of 5 to 8 hours a week, and you're talking about something that will change the landscape, and certainly for our investment make it better value for money, because we can get more games on them, we can play, they're a lot more harder wearing, and even if the grass did go, they're far more stable, and the fibres themselves make the pitch still look green. So you wouldn't notice that actually there's a significant loss of grass.
And more alluring in terms of getting youngsters in particular to go and use them, because it's not, you know, as muddy as might have been on a ramshackled old pitch.
Exactly, and that's why we're saying that, you know, it's not about just natural turf, it's a combination of 3G and natural turf, because clearly the quality of the experience and the way in which players are going to develop is if they're playing on a good surface. You know, coaches will tell you that, you know, if a kid is concentrating on where the ball's going to get to their feet and they've got their head down, then they are automatically then at a disadvantage. If they've got confidence that the ball's going to come to their feet, their first touch will be one of confidence, and they'll know that actually their next one will be a shot or a pass or something else, instead of 1 touch to control it, 2 touches to control it, maybe 3 touches to control it, tackled, gone, and it doesn't breed any confidence.
So I can hear the join up there in what you're describing, because this has got an impact on the health of the nation. This has got an impact on inclusion, with kids getting together from a young age. This has got an impact potentially on the long-term future of the English game in terms of the skill factor.
It does have an impact on the skill factor, and as was mentioned in the session earlier, we are developing coaches, we're developing referees, we're developing players, but if you haven't got a good pitch to play on, then those players and those coaches and those referees are almost superfluous. So they need pitches, good pitches to play on if we're going to develop the game, and we want to give people a better experience. Insight and our players are telling us that the quality of their experience is deteriorating because of the quality of the grass pitches they're playing on. So that's why we're not forgetting that, and that's why we're looking at different ways of investing in natural turf, and looking to do so, and with luck we'll get more money from the FA to actually do so.
You know, various parts of the FA get pulled in all sorts of political directions. We're not going there, but with regard to you, do you find yourself in the middle of a constant tug of war between those that are purist, it must be grass, those that want a combination, those that want artificial? Are you getting pulled in all sorts of directions?
It's fair to say,
as an individual, as an organisation?
It's fair to say that 10 years ago, 3G, what's that? Nobody wanted to play on them. They thought that it was bad for their health, it was bad for their joints or their muscles. Evidence has shown that that's not the case. There's certainly a resistance from the professional playing area, but you can understand that because that's their livelihood, and there is probably, they would quote that there isn't enough evidence yet to prove them any different. But no, 3G has been accepted. Hybrid pitches have certainly been accepted, certainly in the Premier League, and that's what everybody strives to. But also the quality, everybody is expecting a better quality these days. I think the days of people putting up with something has gone, and we have to make sure that we're providing quality throughout, whether that be through making sure there are some toilets working and some changing rooms, down to the quality of the grass pitch that they're playing on.
You've been to Saltex, I know, for a few years in the past. What do you get out of it as an individual? You come here to share your thoughts, but what do you get out of it in terms of learning from your point of view?
I get an opportunity to put an FA point across instead of, as you just mentioned, the negatives in the media. It's good to be able to tell people what you're doing. I'm enthusiastic and quite pleased that the FA is committed to putting money into facilities, and we get the opportunity to invest that. The other thing is that here is an industry that is in constant innovation mode, and you mentioned yourself about robots cutting the pitches or marking the lines and everything else, and yes, we have to learn about that as well. We need to learn about new drainage solutions, we need to learn about new pitch solutions, and what other things are around and available, what the machines can do now, and how often those machines can be used and the way in which they can be used, whether they're environmentally friendly or whether they just do the job twice as fast and twice as good.
Does it flabbergast you, the rate of innovation and the rate of technological change in this industry? The world in general is moving so quickly, but it's certainly reflected here today.
It is reflected, and I think the use of that technology is present here today. I think it's like everything, when the Apple iPhone came out, it was very expensive, but there was lots of people then replicated it, and with competition came what you'd call a relative price and a more realistic price for what they're offering. So innovation at the start is very expensive, but it comes down to being more affordable. And when we get into the affordability side, then that's when we can look at it, rolling it out across the country.
Is that you for the day? Are you done, or have you got any more to do?
I've got another meeting in about 5 minutes, and then I know there are 2 or 3 other people that want to see me for the rest of the day.
Well, that's great, but networking is a big part of this, isn't it?
Very much
you
so.
come and you can get a lot of bits and pieces knocked off, and just try and keep stuff moving forward.
Exactly that. Yeah, I'm rather than travelling around the country visiting these people, I can see them all in one place.
Brilliant. Well, listen, lovely to talk to you. Do you need me to do that for you, or are you okay?
I think I'll be fine, thank you.
Yeah. Just to confirm that job title again, because it's a rather spectacular one. That was Mark Pover, the FA's Strategy and Investment Manager, Brackets Technical. Don't you forget the Brackets Technical.